So you're back to your greater purpose of trying to improve your ELO, and you'd like to learn a brand new opening. You're in luck, because we're minimizing heavy memorization and tricks, and maximizing common ideas and good old-fashioned tactical weapons that we can employ. Then we'll crush the opponent when they make a mistake. Just like that. Hopefully. Today's opening to try is the Bogo Indian. We'll play it from the black side and then the white side. Here's a quick review. As black, it's a d4, knight to f6, c4, taking the center, e6, knight to f3, and here bishop to b4, allowing a quick development, and ideas of a5 or queen to e7 just to annoy the opponent. Oh, before I begin and before I forget, if you do find this content helpful and somewhat watchable, please leave a like and subscribe. You have my gratitude. Let's get started. White starts with d4, knight to f6, c4, e6, preparing the bishop, knight to f3, and then we launch the bishop to b4 with check. Bishop to d2, and here is a5, just asking it to take, so if takes, this opens up. Knight to c3, of course, by the opponent, and now we castle. e3. Can't push there easily because after takes, this drops. e3. d6. Inching away, trying to get to e5. Queen to c2. Then knight b to d7. Bishop to d3. Now taking control here and pushes here become possible. But we strike the center first, maintaining tension. Or establishing tension with e5. Castle kingside, rook to e8. And now we once, twice, 3 times protect the pawn, still with the idea that if this gets pushed, we capture. e4. Now this does shut down the center. So e takes. Knight takes. We have ideas here and here. In this position, black here plays c6. I'm trying to establish the idea that you don't have to memorize moves, but just concepts. You can move the knight here, here, or prophylaxis here, and also the center. Rook a to e1, and now knight to e5. It's placating there, almost baiting a push here. h3. Now it's a prophylactic response, and here white would like to push on f4, just take up some space in the middle, at which point we play bishop to c5, slicing through. There's a little bit of a trick here. The idea, of course, of bishop to c5 is to annoy the dark squares there, and so much so that if you try to boot it away, then you still have a bishop to b6 still aimed there, and maybe you'll have to trade bishops. But in the game, after bishop to c5 hitting here, the opponent played bishop to e3, which is a mistake. I need you guys to have a look at the position and tell us, or rather me, indirectly to the comments, or just have a look at the position. Feel free to pause, solve, and comment on the video below. Answer in 3, 2, 1. In this position, black uncorks the brilliant. Bishop takes on h3, sacrificing the bishop. Temporarily, of course. Because, as you can see, this has been extended. So if takes, you have a check there. But do you right now? There is a knight. You take the knight. After takes, you have options here. Knight to f3. King can either go here or here. If king moves to h1, then takes with tempo. This doesn't get pushed. And now, before that gets pushed, placate your rook to h5, just attacking that pawn. So push, push, push. And now, after that, constant pressure on that pawn. And after takes, not outright winning. Because of that trick, you're positionally on the attack. Of course, if king to g2, then simply takes again with tempo, queen to d1. Now the idea here is potentially rerouting. And after the push, white still wants to push the f4 pawn. You now have ideas there. You wrap the queen here, attacks this twice. And of course, if the opponent does not budge and simply plays bishop to e2, not accepting any of our tactical ideas, then bishop to d7, that one pawn gives you a good whole tempo. And say we'll continue with queen to d2. Now, attacking that twice, you can't push f4. You have more tempos. And here you have infiltrates here, ideas there. Overall, a more comfortable game for black. This time we'll have a look at the Bogo Indian from the white side. Here's d4, knight to f6. Knight to f3, e6, c4. Again, the bishop tossed with the check. White chooses to block here. Queen to e7. If takes, you have the queen placated there. a3 to just boot it out. And after takes, queen to d2. Moving it to the second rank, castle. g3, fianchetto. Bishop to g2, e5, trying to break the center. Ideas here. Takes, castle. In this position, knight b to d7 was played. Probably a more direct way of positionally approaching this position. This is an open file, currently unchallenged, so instead, take it as black. And maybe queen to e3, and then moving here to target that. So queen to e3 after takes, or rather after knight to a g4, you're trying to hit here. Just ideas of open files and activity to compensate for the lack of a challenge here on the d file. After e4, you do have to move back. And yeah, this is a more of positional idea. We have this, opponent has this, and a push there on the middle. But hey, that's not what happened. After castles, knight b to d7 was played, knight to c3. Again, the concepts of you have, upon attacking d5, why don't you develop a piece and then maximize the range of that piece and to control the square. Here is a knight to c5, of course, trying to fork us. And let's not get forked. Queen to c2. Preventing this, but also now controlling all the way up to f5. Not g6, because just, you'll give up your queen that way. a5, so you can't boot it easy. And if you do, if you try to kick it out, just say a5, 8 takes, rook takes, and now this gets attacked twice. If you try to push, the push of the pawn makes this a very, very annoying piece, an outpost. So that's not what happened in the game. Instead, after a5, white prepares a little bit of a trick, and that's knight to g5. To see how black would respond. And in this position, black played h6. The fatal h6, which just ends the game. Ends the game. Have a look at position. Why does it end the game? Feel free to pause, solve, and comment on the video below. Answer in 3, 2, 1. The game ends because if this knight was not on f6, this would be a checkmate. And how do we distract that knight? With knight to d5. Brilliant move. The thing is, if you avoid capturing it, then simply takes. Queen takes. This is the tempo behind the checkmate threat, so that's a checkmate. And of course, if you take, that's a checkmate. There is no way to avoid the loss of a queen, except getting a, take here and that's gone, or moving the rook. Simply just blast the opponent away. So that's a nice trick in this position. Of course, if black correctly played the defense at g6, then it's everyone's game, or anyone's game, after b4, which now allows a nice b4 thrust. Take, 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 rook to a1, rook takes on a1, knight 2, then push. Because the knight was moved here on g5, you can now circulate it and just positional ideas of takes, or rather maneuver there. And you have this file. This is actually even according to the Silicon Monster, but it's a nice thing to know that there is a trick there if the opponent falls for it right there. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed that. I'll see you guys later. Double peace.